Hey guys, my name is Anthony, and in today's video I'm going to be giving you my third installment of my Hotlap Face-Off series, and this episode is going to be a little bit different because I'm actually going to be examining a lap from someone who's quicker than me and significantly quicker than me as well. The time difference between his lap in this video and my lap in this video is 8/10, so almost a second quicker than me per lap. So it would be nice to get a different perspective on, basically how I look at a lap and how I examine a lap and see where I can find time, because I know a lot of you guys are new to F1 2020 and you look at all these hot laps from all of these esports pros and stuff like that, and you're like, okay, well, how do they do that? How can I examine their lap and actually see where I can make up time? So in this episode you're going to see me look at his lap and see where I can make up time on Hanoi. So I want to thank Sparxv, I think that's how you say your name, for supplying the footage in today's episode. So if you want to see his YouTube channel, he's going to be uploading fairly soon, hopefully, so I'll leave a link in the description below. And if you want to get yourself involved in one of these episodes, then there will be an email in the description below. You can just go there, send me an email with a YouTube link of your footage, and I can put it in an episode and examine exactly where you can make up time or where I can make up time versus you. So let's get straight into today's video. So I'm not sure how long this video is going to be, because honestly I could only find a few minor differences between our laps that really make up most of the time. So I'm just going to go through those things and then just see how long it takes, and if it's a shorter video then it's a shorter video, and if it's a longer one then it's a longer one. So the main two things that I think that makes up the most time between myself and Sparxv is I need to be more aggressive and committed throughout corners without locking up, because if you look at his lap, he is quite aggressive but he does lock up quite a lot, so it's not the cleanest lap, and I'm sure he doesn't mind me saying that. Whereas if I can find that same amount of aggression whereas I'm not locking up all the time, I definitely think that I can sort of gain at least maybe a couple of tenths to like half a second around Hanoi. And the other thing is I really need to find a balance in my setup that helps me find that aggression throughout the track. So I've got some examples here written down in some notes and I'm going to go through them quickly. So if you look at turn 1, the brake point is not an issue when it comes to turn 1. We actually brake at roughly the same place. I think I brake just that tiny bit later. However, I lost 2/100ths of a second because I didn't ride over the curb like he did. You want to ride over that curb, especially in qualifying. In the race it doesn't matter as much, but in qualifying every thousandth counts. So you want to ride over that curb just to make sure that you gain as much time as possible. So that's where I lost time going into turn 1. And you can see going into turn 2 and turn 3, F1 2020, their invalidation system isn't the best, and you can actually see Sparxv goes a little bit wide, which does give him a better line, so he does make up time there, but I'm not going to count that as making up time because really and truly that should have been invalidated. So moving on to turn 5 now, I think this is where he starts to make up the most time, because at the end of sector 1 I'm already 2 temps down, and the reason for that is because he's carrying more speed, roughly about 8 miles per hour, and he's in a higher gear than me at the exact same spot, which means he's going to be carrying speed throughout the entire straight. And if his wing setup is a little bit more focused on straight line speed than mine is, then that means he can gain quite a significant amount of time, and it does seem as if he gains a significant amount of time, because by the end of sector 1 he's already 2 temps up on myself. So moving on to the beginning of sector 2 now, this is in my personal opinion where he makes up the most time on the track. So going through turns 6, 7, 8 and 9, he brakes later than me going into turn 6. I brake just before the 100 meter board, whereas he brakes dead on at the 100 meter board. And you can see that even though he locks up the car, he's so aggressive throughout those corners that he still makes up a significant amount of time. I'll probably play his version of the lap when he's going through those corners and my version of the lap when I'm going through those corners a couple of times, just so you can see the difference in aggression between me and him going through those corners. I am super passive compared to him, and I think because of that passiveness I'm losing out on valuable temps here. And yes, I said temps, not hundreds, because by the end of sector 2 he has made 8 temps on me already. So going through the left-right chicane, I definitely think I can be a lot more aggressive going into those corners. Again, as I said, it could be my line through there, it could also be my setup that's compromising my line, so I really need to work on, you know, just doing a couple of laps, actually going in, practicing, seeing if I can find a balance with my setup that allows me to be a little bit more aggressive through some of these corners. And also going through turn 7 and turn 8, his line is a lot more clean through there than mine. I feel as if he goes out wide, comes in, and then he's able to put the power down quite quickly compared to me, whereas me, I didn't really feel confident going through that corner. And because of that lack of confidence, I don't think I took the most optimal line going through turn 7 and turn 8. And in my opinion, turn 7 and turn 8 are the two most important corners on the track, because it's followed by the longest straight in Formula 1, and you can make up so much time and you could lose so much time just by getting these two corners either right or wrong. So I definitely feel I lost a lot of time to Sparx because I didn't take those two corners as well as he did, and because of how long the next straight is, I feel as if this is where I lost the majority of the time on the lap compared to Sparx, because it is a very long straight. And then going into turn 11, I feel as if our turn 11s were similar actually. I even think my turn 11 might have been slightly better than his because of the exit. I wasn't riding over the curb on exit, which allowed me to get a little bit more grip on exit, but because I had lost so much time going through 6, 7, 8 and 9, it didn't really matter that I got a better turn 11. So moving on to sector 3, the only thing I could really notice through here is I should be a little bit more aggressive. Once again, my driving style is very passive, and if you want to get to that extra level, if you want to be able to compete with some of the quickest guys on whatever platform that you're playing on, you're really going to need to adapt to an aggressive driving style, and I just haven't done that yet. My driving style is still very passive, so I need to learn to be a little bit more aggressive going through corners, and sector 3 at Hanoi is a big example through that. You can really see the difference when watching someone with an aggressive driving style drive through sector 3 at Hanoi versus someone like myself who's a little bit more passive. So those are the main things that I could honestly find looking at his lap and looking versus my lap. So that's where I need to make up time, and what I'm going to do is I'm actually going to go back to Hanoi and try to adopt some of those things that I found and see if I can actually get a faster time at Hanoi now that I know exactly where I should be making up time. So what I'm going to do, if I can get a faster time at Hanoi based on the things that I've learned from this episode, I will post that lap to my Twitter. So if you're not following me on Twitter, make sure to go to the description below and click on my Twitter and follow me there at twitter.com/BushiAntz so that you can see if I can actually make up time based on what I've found from Sparx's lap. So I'm going to leave the video off there. If you want to see more F1 2020 content from myself, I do track guides, tutorials, my team and stuff like this. Make sure to hit the like button and stick around by subscribing to the channel, and I'd like to thank Sparxv once again for supplying the footage in this episode. So I'll see you guys in my next video.